Liberals have unveiled a plan to ease the cost of living crisis for low and modest income Canadians. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is at a caucus retreat in St. Andrews, New Brunswick today. This is where he announced the plan, which includes doubling GST rebate checks for 6 months, a temporary dental care benefit for some families with young children, and an expanded housing allowance payment. The NDP has been asking for all three initiatives since the spring, as inflation began weighing heavily on some Canadians. The measures announced in the plan are to be put forward in a bill when Parliament resumes sitting on September 20th, the day after the Queen's funeral. Well, joining us now to tell us how inflation hit Canadians will be impacted by this new plan is Dr. Moche Lander from the Department of Economics at McGill University. Dr. Lander, welcome to Forum Daily.
Hello.
So let's start with a quick overview of today's announcement by the Liberal government.
So the three things that are being covered there, the dental plan, that was part of an election campaign platform. It's really nothing new, and it's not really meant to curb inflation. The idea of the housing benefit is probably not going to help make ends meet particularly well, but it's a good idea at least, better than nothing. And the third part of the platform there is also probably not going to create any sort of substantial help here for low-income Canadians that are suffering. But again, it's probably better than nothing. All of these things are being claimed as a victory by the NDP. The Liberals are saying that it's something they wanted to do anyway. I'm not entirely sure that this is good economics, but the politics look good today.
Well, it sounds like you're not very impressed by this plan, Doctor. Let's dissect the promises made in this plan first, and we'll get into that. But in terms of doubling GST rebate checks for 6 months, what would that look like for Canadians and who would qualify?
So that's a means-tested program. What that means is that it's based on the size of your income. So the lowest income Canadians get back the biggest rebate, and as your income goes up, the amount that you get rebated falls. That in itself isn't bad economics, but the idea that they're going to double it is effectively saying that because prices are rising quickly, the amount of GST you're paying is rising as well, so we want to give it back to you. The only thing is, prices have not doubled, so the amount of GST that you paid has not doubled. So to say that we're going to give you back double the amount across the board is too much. It's unnecessary, and so that's why I was saying that it's good politics, but it's unnecessary from an economic standpoint.
And what about the dental care benefit? It was a key part of the NDP and Liberal agreement and very important to some Canadians. So let's go over the coverage in this plan and what families have access to.
So the dental plan's been kicking around for probably over a decade in Canada. We've wanted this idea of universal dental care coverage for all Canadians in the same way that we have it with our healthcare system. And it's something that as Canadians we're all very proud of. This is not that. It's maybe a stepping stone to that. I think what was intended was that towards the end of this parliament, maybe in 2-3 years, there would be some sort of universal plan in a limited form that would have been unveiled. I think this is more the idea that, well, we better do something now. So let's at least cover children, and that way we don't have parents trying to make ends meet on the back of their children's dental health. So in this case, then, it's maybe a good starting point. But the risk here, of course, too, is that what would happen if dentists say, all right, some of our costs are now going to be covered by the government. Let's increase the prices that we charge so that that benefit is now being captured by dentists. And the amount of services that they're providing isn't necessarily going up. It's just that the services that they're already providing are just now more expensive, which itself is inflationary.
All right, Dr. Lander, about a minute left here, but jumping to the third promise in this plan, expanded housing allowance payments. So what does this mean for homeowners, buyers, and renters?
So if you're renting a home right now in almost any Canadian jurisdiction, $500 as a one-off payment is $40 a month. $40 a month is not going to help you pay your rent. It's better than nothing, but it's not far enough. So all of these policies are good-hearted, but they're not going to address the real problem, which is prices continue to rise rapidly, and the Bank of Canada needs to continue to move to rein it in.
All right, a quick 40 seconds left here, but how do you see this multi-billion-dollar package impacting the issue of inflation itself within Canada?
So in the great ironies of ironies, Nima, this is itself inflationary. When you unload a bunch of demand into the economy, this is going to push prices up. It just means the Bank of Canada is going to have to increase interest rates faster and more severely. So it could end up being an own goal for the government here.
Sounds like a lot more work is needed to be done. Thank you again, Dr. Lander, for your time today.
Anytime.